Navneethan from Uncanny Vision here. Okay.
Hello, Navneethan.
Hi.
Good afternoon to all of you.
Sir, we are live.
Okay, good afternoon to all of you. And I am Sathyanarayana. I represent the Karnataka Startup Cell, Department of ITBT, Government of Karnataka. Welcome to the session on artificial intelligence and focus and initiatives on artificial intelligence from Government of Karnataka. I'm proud to actually be, representing this session on behalf of the government. Thanks to Meeti for this opportunity and the RAISE event. I welcome all the startup founders here with me who are there on the session and all the dignitaries, delegates who are actually viewing the session across the world. So it's a great initiative, and I would like to talk about a bit about introduction about Karnataka Startup Cell, its initiatives, and how we are actually focusing on our efforts towards helping the startups in the areas of artificial intelligence. Karnataka Startup Cell was set up in 2015 by launching the Karnataka Startup Policy 2015-20. It's a multi-sector startup policy, sector agnostic. Our main focus has been on incubation, uh, startup seed funding, mentoring, uh, and incentives on patents and marketing and GST, helping startups in various sectors to gain, scale up their product and solutions through capacity building and exposure workshops. And the policy focuses on various other aspects where we can actually impact and stimulate the growth of startups in the state. So ever since 2015, we have been conducting the programs like Elevate and Idea to POC, which is actually the core focus of the policy, where we provide seed funding of up to rupees 50 lakhs per startup for developing the POC and scaling up their product or solutions. The department has funded 470 startups across the sectors ranging from agriculture to aerospace, in terms of industry, and e-commerce to deep tech like non-invasive devices and diagnosis in terms of technology vertical. So today we are going to talk about how and how we are trying to impact the startups who are working in the areas of artificial intelligence. I would like to actually share a small presentation about the Center of Excellence in Data Sciences and Artificial Intelligence, which the state has set up. It's the public-private partnership model in association with NESCOM, and talk about how we have been able to, what is our main focus. I think I'm able to share I think all of you are able to see my uh, presentation here. So we have, Government of Karnataka has set up a Center of Excellence in Data Sciences and Artificial Intelligence. The Center of Excellence in Data Sciences and Artificial Intelligence was set up in 2018 on a public-private partnership model with partnership of Government of Karnataka, Government of India, and IT industry. The core objectives have been fostering the disruptive innovation and entrepreneurial ecosystem, enable the deep research and benefit various industries as well as government, enhance consumption of data sciences and artificial intelligence solutions. And the last one is create quality human capital to meet the AI talent requirements. So the stakeholders here would be the promotion of AI anywhere to enable the digital workforce, provide access to industry forums, The main stakeholders being academia, industry, government, and innovators surrounding this center of excellence is in DS and AI. We also focus on providing mentorship, providing access to industry, use cases, provide access to technology, provide access to investors, provide IP creation. On the industry side, we also focus on right-sizing the AI ambition, drive the artificial intelligence adoption, by startups, facilitate research in AI, and developing assets or structures to drive the efficiency. So from government, we position Karnataka as an AI destination. We all know that the most number of open positions today in the AI field lie in the Bangalore, uh, and also to develop solutions for societal impact, facilitate job creation, and promote skill development. To bit about AI, one of the research says that the market size and the entire boutique of AI analytics firms providing specialized AI services are basically in the sectors of end-to-end analytics, production services as being the first one, artificial intelligence and computer vision, third one in IoT and logistics, fourth one in NLP, natural language processing, and fifth one will be in robotics. The key highlights, let's look at the key highlights of the Indian artificial intelligence landscape. The market is valued at 6.4 billion as of July and August 2020 is as estimated. It also covers the revenues from AI operations originating from India, regardless of the stakeholder or the client type. The market size in relation to the type of companies is highest across the MNC IT technology, electronics technology, which combines the medtech and other product startups or the product-based companies, which includes hardware technology as well. And the combined market size here is 36.2%. The market size by industries or sectors, is highest across the IT services sector. Apart from IT, BFSI has a lot of market share in terms of the AI services at 9.6%, uh, going into the SaaS platforms. There are almost close to 91,000 artificial intelligence uh, personnel working across enterprises in India, according to one of the research, and with a median salary of around 14.5 lakhs. The highest salaries are drawn by AI professionals in Mumbai at 16.7 lakhs because it's a fintech hub as well. And as I said, close to around 17,000 open positions are currently available to be filled up in India, according to one of the research. And Bangalore, just as it does for other data sciences and IT services jobs, tops the location for the artificial intelligence jobs which are open right now. Going back to the presentation, uh, how the COE helps the growth stage startups with focused programs. The COE in data sciences and AI actually focuses on first is market access, where we actually try to get the startups to the market by arranging B2B meetings with industries and enterprises, CXO connects, and tech mentorship, and finally the investors connects through the events like Raise. How we look at acceleration program, because there is a 3-point agenda which with which the center of excellences were set up. One is being the market access through enterprise connects. Second is being the skilling in this particular field. Third, to actually accelerate the startups who are incubated in the center of excellences which we have set up. So again, coming back to how we provide acceleration through different cohorts is we actually call for cohorts and we actually provide market access, leadership connects, global connects, access to technology, investor connect, and IP creation in this field. We also have an IP reimbursement policy through a startup policy of Karnataka, where we reimburse patents filed by startups up to 2 lakh rupees for Indian patents and up to 10 lakh rupees for foreign patents, irrespective of whether they're incubated or funded. If they're certified in startup cell, they are eligible to apply for this. And through COEs, it becomes even more all the easy for doing this, because they also help these startups who are in artificial intelligence to actually, file for patents and IP. So, how the Center of Excellences help the industry adoption of AI in four ways. One is right size of AI ambition, help collaborate with AI SMEs, facilitate research in AI, drive efficiency through structure. This is the four-step process where our Center of Excellences in data sciences and AI helps the industry adoption of AI. And with this, we come to the end of the presentation. I would not take much time on these, AI. Rather, I would actually let our startup founders talk about, the innovations which they have made, because of which I think there's a lot of disruption in the areas which they are working. They have actually been very successful in actually deploying these solutions. They have put a lot of efforts. They have actually foreseen what they can do prior ahead of time. And I think let's meet them. We have let me give a brief introduction about the innovators whom we have today. We are moving towards the panel discussion now, where I'll be moderating the session, and we have 5 startups with us. Excellent startups from the state. So first one is Sigtupal Technologies. We have Tathagata Rai and Manish from there. Hi, Manish, and hi, Tathagata Rai. We have Dipen from RoadMetrics Private Limited. We have Navneethan from Uncanny Vision. We have Mr. Vishnu Rao from TartanSense. And finally, we have Gaurav Mittal from GingerMind Technologies. So what I'll be doing is, just a second. Okay, so I'll be actually happy to share the videos of each of these startups, a brief video about introduction into their innovation, and then we'll be going ahead with the questions. I would like the tech team to present the first video of Sigtupal.
Hello and welcome. We are Sigtupal, and our aim is to build a global health tech company which will touch lives by improving the quality of healthcare delivery. And we do this with the help of robotics, data, and artificial intelligence. The problem that plagues the world of pathology today is that many critical diagnostic tests still require manual microscopy. And this has several problems. First, the sample and the pathologist need to be co-located. This makes remote diagnosis impossible. The second, the manual microscopy, like any other manual process, suffers from errors. This is caused by inter-observer variability, fatigue due to high case loads, and many other reasons. And finally, the manual review process is also inefficient, and it is dependent entirely on the physical availability of the doctor. We believe that automated microscopy powered by AI backend will effectively solve this problem. Our solution is a unique device called AI100, backed by a flexible and extensible AI platform. The AI100 is a smart digital automated microscope powered by AI. It acts as the eye of the pathologist and can convert any physical sample into digital images. And our AI solutions then crunch through these images and come up with a web-enabled report, viewable anywhere in the world, for the doctor to review and release it to the patient. Currently, we offer solutions for the analysis of blood and urine. Both solutions are enabled on the same device, which is a unique thing in the diagnostic industry. And many other solutions leveraging the same hardware are in the pipeline, and this includes tuberculosis and histopathology. Our solutions address all the problems associated with manual microscopy. It enables remote review, removing the need for the doctor to be co-located. It allows collaborative review, allowing junior doctors to consult seniors. It is also more accurate than manual review by virtue of us looking at larger areas of the sample than what a doctor does. Finally, since a large part of the work of the doctor is done by the AI, it makes the doctor more efficient. She can quickly run through routine cases and direct her attention to the really critical ones. And even though we are an Indian company, our ambitions are not restricted to India. Our solutions are applicable all over the world, and we want to take it out to the world. By virtue of our CE mark, we have the regulatory clearance to market our product in a large part of the world, including the European Union. We are also working on US FDA clearance, which will enable us to sell our products in the United States. Thank you. Please get in touch using the coordinates that you can see below. Goodbye.
Thanks, Tathagat Rai. It was a great, description and describing the solution. I would come back to you with questions. In the meantime, I would go to the next speaker, who's Dipen from RoadMetrics. Dipen from RoadMetrics, please request you to, explain about your innovation. Thank you. You can actually talk alongside the video.
Yeah. Nikhil from my team will be joining. Yeah, Nikhil, you can take over.
So you will be playing the presentation?
The team can play the video, please.
Hi, I'm Nikhil, and I'm one of the co-founders at RoadMetrics. Road assessments and mapping is currently done manually, and this is a century-old process. Our unique solution maps road and street level data using a simple smartphone. The infrastructure is simple. Image data and smartphone sensor data is fused to create a real-time road data map. Our software is able to detect over 65 types of road characteristics, and that includes road and street level details, assets, and street features. Our software is now trained with over 100,000 data points in over 3 cities with 2,500 kilometers of roads mapped, and this gives us an accuracy of over 95%. Our RoadMetrics mobile application provides our users with the ability to view all road and street level data. And our RoadMetrics enterprise-grade application provides in-depth road condition and road level data for various B2B applications. The entire road network for your township can be mapped by priority. Our team comes with deep domain experience with industry experience in the Silicon Valley with Tesla and Velodyne LiDAR. The market size is huge. At over 5.9 million kilometers of roads in India, this gives us a total market opportunity of over $13 billion. Our RoadMetrics marketplace solution provides us with instant scalability. Our users can submit crowdsourced data through open data acquisition projects, upload and receive compensation. This allows us for instant scalability. Our data is sold through our API model, and that includes the road health, assets, and features. And we also provide our road data through a per kilometer basis for smart city initiatives. HD mapping with LiDAR is a cutting-edge technology that is used for advanced driver assistance systems as well as autonomous driving initiatives. It also becomes a big factor for EV range profile estimation and velocity profiling. We've already done paid pilot projects with the city of Surat as well as Jamshedpur with the Tata Group. And we currently are in conversations with the mapping and automotive companies such as Here Maps and Renault, Mitsubishi, and Nissan. RoadMetrics is backed by 100x.vc. We are a part of the first class of 2019. And RoadMetrics is also incubated by T-Hub in collaboration with the government of Telangana and METI. We already mapped the city of Bangalore. Our plan ahead is to map 10 tier 1 cities in India, as well as HD mapping with LiDAR and expand to the Southeast Asian and emerging markets. The potential with millions of kilometers of data is tremendous. Once again, we're RoadMetrics and we provide AI-based road mapping solutions. Here's a short demo of how our platform is able to identify various road characteristics. from street lighting to pedestrian crossings to mandatory informatory warnings, and so on. At the moment, we've covered over 2,000 kilometers of data in Bangalore. Our software provides powerful tools to toggle between road conditions, road features, and other informatory assets. It also provides tools for powerful data visualization to visualize your road network. It also allows you to export all of this data to our navigation app as well as calculating budgets. Thanks, Satya, for sharing that.
Thanks, Nikhil. We'll be going to the next, video, which is from Uncanny Vision. Request the team to play the video on Uncanny Vision. Uncanny Vision, the founder Navneet is present here, and Uncanny Vision is an AI-based computer vision company which provides real-time edge-based video analytics. Over to the video, please.
We offer uncanny AI-based computer vision solutions. We are basically AI for surveillance cameras. We are a Startup India registered startup with a leadership team with experience in advanced computer vision for over 15 years. We come from the semiconductor industry. We really understand how to optimize the AI-based video analytics for edge processing systems. Effectively, we turn surveillance cameras to edge-based vision sensors that convert video into information. The markets where this is used is our vehicle monitoring solutions is being used as uncanny ANPR in parking, gate security, traffic monitoring. For here, you're seeing examples in number plate recognition system in a highway system. We're able to read this at very high accuracies, unprecedented in the industry. Now, why is number plate recognition so hard? Let's look at a few examples. In India, number plates are, while there are standards, doesn't everybody follow? There are different types of fonts, different shapes people come in. We're able to read this with very high accuracy, over 95% accuracy, over 98% detection accuracy. Here you see an ANPR system, whereas vehicles come in, whether it's residential or a commercial complex, our ANPR system is automatically able to detect the vehicle, read the license plate, and open the gate, all of it in a sub-second. More interesting applications are in traffic ANPR, where we work with NHAI, the GST department, and police to recognize the license plate at over 160 kilometers an hour with 98+% accuracy, day and night. We're able to do this with accuracies that were unprecedented in India. Here you see a truck that is coming by on the highway system. Our system is able to detect the vehicle, read the license plate, whether it's daytime or nighttime. We're also able to classify the vehicles. And then it's not just in India. We have a lot of installations now in the US and North America. And we're able to do this remotely with partners that we work with in the US for parking, traffic, smart city applications. Even in the US, if you see, the number plates look quite non-standardized. That's where our strength comes in. And if you look at other applications, we also support people analytics, including COVID compliance monitoring, which is social distance, and face mask detection. We're able to do this accurately, and we have installations in airports, in commercial entities. And another unique aspect is we've also done this advanced ATM monitoring solution that automatically is able to detect if there are any unexpected actions in an ATM. We can also detect safety monitoring. We have installations at Tata Steel and various other companies where we're able to check if everyone is following safety rules at all times. Now, we are one of the few companies in video analytics which is able to offer an accuracy guarantee apart from an uptime guarantee. We have a 24/7 operations center with a team that is able to monitor and guarantee this accuracy. Thanks for watching. Check us out at uncannyvision.com.
Thanks, Navneet. And over to the next video from TartanSense, which is into AI robotics company. team to play the video from TartanSense, please.
Hi, I'm Vishnu Rao, Chief Operating Officer at TartanSense, and today I'm going to try and convince you that the Indian farmer needs AI-powered robots. When we first pitched the idea of AI and robotics for agriculture about 4 years ago, people laughed at us. It was simply due to the notion that the Indian farmer is poor or does not have the ability to pay. We carried out extensive field explorations, and contrary to what we heard, we saw that while some Indian farmers were poor, most of them were spending a lot of money on chemicals. As we explored the chemical use further, we witnessed a lot of blanket spraying of chemicals such as insecticide, pesticide, and herbicide being carried out. What is blanket spraying, if you ask? Imagine you have two kids and only one of them has a cold. Would you give antibiotics to both of them? We have been talking about doubling the farmer's income in India all along. At TartanSense, we saw an opportunity to do so by building a solution that could help them move away from blanket spraying. If you ask how, here is Bridgebot, a computer vision equipped precision spraying robot that can take decisions at a plant level. Bridgebot looks at every plant in a field individually and using AI on the edge, sprays only the required amount of chemical through one or more of its high precision nozzles. Being electrically powered, Bridgebot can tirelessly run for about 8 hours at a stretch on a single charge. Now, with Bridgebot knowing what chemical to spray and how much to spray, this leads to a 70% reduction in the chemical used when compared to methods like blanket spraying. This means chemical spraying becomes sustainable, reduces input costs for the farmer, and saves a lot of water. This is our bold attempt to bring in cutting-edge AI to the rural Indian farm. We have already deployed 10 Bridgebots across Karnataka, Maharashtra, and Andhra Pradesh, serving cotton, chili, and tomato farmers. Come, join us in our journey to move India forward from blanket spraying to precision spraying.
Thank you. Thank you, Vishnu. So we'll be going to the next video from GingerMind, which also happens to be one of the Elevate and Idea to POC winners from the state of Karnataka. Team to please provide project the video from GingerMinds. Thank you.
Camera active. One cat.
An app can change your life. What amazes me about ID is that the creators themselves do not have any visual impairment, yet they understand exactly what I need.
Hi, I'm Gaurav, CEO of GingerMind.ai, where we are using deep tech to help the visually impaired across the globe be more independent. Did you know that India is home to 62 million people with vision impairment, which is more than the number of taxpayers in the country? Due to lack of jobs, most of them will stay dependent in their life, and one of the biggest barriers to success for them is navigation. I started building solutions for the visually impaired in 2012, and 2 years later, I had my first prototype. It was then I quit my day job, and with advancements in deep tech, we are now able to make this hardware see the world in real time using AI, and it can guide a person to walk safely. And by the way, this solution was selected by Barcelona City Council ahead of 65 international applications in 2019 last year to do a pilot. 12 visually impaired citizens walk the streets of Barcelona with greater safety. One of our other products is a mobile app that helps visually impaired people in daily tasks like reading books, identifying objects, and since 2015, it has served about 70,000 people in 160 countries. We are a team of people united by mission and supported by ecosystem. And Basavaiya is one of our pilot users. He has been walking with a white cane since always. In 2020, for the first time using our tech, Basavaiya walked an unknown space without cane. Join us in bringing this solution to millions of people and contribute your tech expertise or any other expertise in any way you can. Let's bring the fruits of deep tech to the most marginalized together.
Thank you. I'll be going with my questions to each of the panelists now. So first question is to the team Sigtupal. Uh, how do you generate the report, and in terms of substantial amount of internet being used, how do you foresee the data security aspect of the patients, and also how accurate is this data with the medical grade data?
So let me answer the questions one by one. The first is that we require the internet connection. Yes, we do require internet connection, but I do believe that internet availability will no longer be, I would say, bottleneck for us in the next few years. So things will move up, and obviously we will also do some innovation on our side by that time, which will reduce the need for internet. I mean, the amount of bandwidth that we require significantly. We are on it, but I do not foresee that this as a major challenge. But healthcare data, the privacy is a major challenge. For example, I mean, we must, many of us would have seen the recent documentary Social Dilemma. And anything which can be used for good can also be probably weaponized. So we have actually taken care right from the beginning so that our data cannot be weaponized. The first thing that we do is that we do not take any patient personally identifiable information into our system. We just take images from the blood of a person. And there is no way to trace that image back to this person. We just expect a hospital ID or a unique ID coming from the hospital or the lab where the solution is getting, the sample is getting scanned. And apart from that, we use the standards, SSL encryption, and our cloud is HIPAA compliant. So I do not believe that the security will be a major issue in the model that we use. For the simple reason that we do not try to get any more data than what we actually need to do our job.
So is it that when you actually have the reports analyzed of a particular patient, is it that your software is capable where it will hash the record and give it a number and sequence it in such a way that it actually is encrypted, or the data will lie at your end or the hospital's end? How does it work?
So the data lies at our end and it is viewable through a secure cloud. Okay. And to answer your question on the reporting and the accuracy, so what we do is we basically take the objects of interest in the sample. For example, in case of blood, it would be white blood cells, red blood cells, and the like. And we do a pre-classification through AI into different types, say neutrophils, lymphocytes, whatever. And this is now viewable to the doctor. The doctor can agree with our classification or she can disagree with our classification. She can change the classification. So we do not want to override the doctor, replace the doctor. We just want to make a job easier. So this is how the reporting works. And what we have noticed is that after a few days, the doctor gets absolutely used to it and starts trusting our classification. And the accuracy levels that we have are in the mid to high 90s, sensitivity, specificity. So, but obviously the sensitivity specificity depends on the data set, and data changes from one lab to another and from one country to another. So we will continue, and so therefore our models is that we continuously keep learning from the data that we get.
So the platform also has an ML built into it, I guess. So how much of reports have you already generated, and how much is it already being learned by the system within?
So for our training data, we have used more than, I would say, 30,000 samples, and each sample gives rise to, say, maybe 200, 300, 400 cells. So that number actually goes up. And for reporting, I don't have the exact number in hand, but maybe around
25,000
reports we have generated.
Okay, great. Thanks, Rai and the team. My next question is to the RoadMetrics team, Dipen and Nikhil. So tell us about your fascinating idea about detecting the potholes in the roads, because so many roads, the roads keep changing, the roads keep getting built overnight, the roads get become one ways and two ways overnight. And how did you conceive this idea, and how does this pothole, to what extent is the pothole, is it a small pothole also is detected, or the trenches also are detected? Because the potholes keep differing in city to city, and in Bangalore we have a lot of thing going on. So how does it work?
Yeah. So the idea started with my co-founders Dipen and Mittal as well. Yeah. So initially they used sensor vibration data to identify all the different characteristics, and soon after they started using computer vision based algorithms to classify it. So it classifies all anything from an early stage crack to final stage potholes. Um but since about a few months, we've added new features. So we started doing things like road signages, street assets, and all the features, as well as push to go to 3D perspective mapping, that is light using lidar sensors. So yeah, in order to tackle the issue of say the data changes dynamically, right? So what we're going to be launching is a marketplace solution, which will open up certain data acquisition challenges. So for example, if we want right now it's at Bangalore at the moment, but if we want to cover all of India, right, all the major metros, we open up challenges in these particular areas. Our users will be provided compensation. That we provide them some kind of credits or say compensation based on per kilometer basis to acquire the data for us. So, for example, if say for example a mapping company or automotive company uses this street signage data, so I think road condition was initially started, but that is going to be on a more case-to-case basis with these smart cities. So, if they would want a more frequent or an updated version, then we open up a challenge and get the data for that particular area, and we charge them on a per kilometer basis. But mapping companies, it'll be more of all the street signages, the road features, as for example, intelligent alerts and warnings. So if you know that there are particular, say, obstruction on the road, it's too narrow, and all of these things, right? Like say there's a speed limit that's not available right now through aerial data. So all of this data can be captured using our street level imagery-based data. That's what we're doing. And yeah, since my background, so I used to work in the autonomous driving industry with the lidar mapping space. What we're going to do is start with certain stretches in Bangalore with the 3D perspective mapping that helps us give 3D dimensions, so all the dimensions of the streets as well. So that is going to be another added factor for both automotive and mapping companies.
So I saw in the presentation that it's not only the on-road potholes, but I think even when you are actually you're also looking at the periphery on the roads on the other sides, and you are also mapping that as well.
Yeah, yeah. So we started. So we've done a lot of refinement to our platform. So the great thing about this is that we can train it to identify what we need, right? So we've constantly added new features like road signages, dividers, all of the other, say for example trash availability or encroachments on the road, and all of these things can be identified using this software. So through some feedback that we had done through a recent pilot project with Jasco and Jamshedpur, that is a Tata group. We incorporated some new features on that as well. And also with some mapping companies that we kind of had talks with, they would like to know things like EV charging stations. A lot of new things keep coming up, and this kind of technology will be useful for identifying all these various road and street features.
Thanks, Nikhil. We'll come back to you with a second set of questions. Over to Navneet on the uncanny vision. So uncanny vision. So so it is the most canny vision which we can see. And Navneet, so I saw you last in our incubation center. Nice to see you again. Tell us about your exciting journey as to how this, because when I saw that when I came across your product, that's the time when there's one unfortunate incident also which happened with one of the ATM goers into the ATM, and then she was actually attacked by one of the persons. So I also was told that your camera can actually prevent those kind of untoward incidents and unfortunate incidents. Can you please tell us more about it?
Yep. Sure. We're happy to say when we were at the NASCOM 10K warehouse, we were just piloting with a few banks. Happy to say right now we are live at close to 8,000 ATMs now. And these, knowing what conversations we've had with the rest of the world, these are in many ways some of the safest ATMs around the world. So what we do is these cameras are constantly watching the ATMs, and then we detect people, and any unexpected activity immediately generates an alert, first level alert, and then goes to human beings. And then these alerts, based on presentation to SBI, they've added some advanced spec. So these places have a mic and a speaker. So immediately somebody can actually live look at what's going on if we generate an alert. And then they can actually press a button, there'll be a siren that comes on. And then there can be, even if the security person there, we generate the alert because there's no way humanly you can watch so many cameras, right? So the alerts that we generate, human being can see, and if the alert is real, they can press a button and the shutter can close immediately. So the type of incident that we're talking about, right? At least in these ATMs, I think that cannot happen. It's just incredible. Every day we get literally millions of images from these ATMs that are monitored, filtered by our software, and then goes to a human being. And we've added a few more banks in the last couple of months, actually. So it's starting to scale now.
So how many banks or ATMs, how many banks you're tied up with, and how many ATMs your solution is deployed?
In terms of number of ATMs, we've crossed 8,000 ATMs. Totally, in terms of number of cameras, it's close to 25,000 cameras and 8,000 ATMs. Banks-wise, it's actually just 3 main banks that we're scaling. But there's 5 more banks in the pipeline that we can scale, but that's still a very small number. I think every bank ATM in India should have this. It should be mandatory. It costs a tiny, minuscule amount of money, but especially in the current downturn and all that, there'll likely be more incidents. I think this is almost like a basic necessity. And the cost, we're looking at the end-to-end cost, including our system integrators who put the camera and physical, all the hardware. Basically, per ATM, we're looking at around 5,000, 6,000 rupees a month per ATM, which is not a whole lot, right? So, yeah.
Great, great, Navneet. I'll come back to you with the second set of questions. I think that's a great feat which you achieved with the ATMs and number of ATMs and number plates and analyzing that. I'm sure there's a lot of data, which you are actually analyzing, and there is an ML built on it. And I think the system is learning. Let's explore more in the second round of questions. Over to Vishnu Rao now. So Vishnu, can you please tell us more about the solution which you have developed? It's a great support to the farmers in the agriculture in the rural side. How does this work in places where there are uneven lands and topography, and there's a gradients, and how does it work in terms of power? What is it required, and etc. about it? Your mic is muted.
Yeah. So to begin with, the first question, uneven land is the reality on Indian farms. And I think the first couple of versions of our prototype, we struggled to fix that. And finally, we came to a realization that we needed something which is more like an off-roader. And we decided that we'll make it a 4-wheel drive. So if you see the robot, now each of the wheels has like a motor and a gearbox of its own. So it's like a direct drive. And at the same time, while there's no differential, like in the case of an engine, there's a controller, there's a robotic controller, which senses traction on each of the wheel and can push the required wattage to the electric motor.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that also answers your second question. How do we power it? It's electrically powered. It's pretty much a brushless DC motor and a gearbox.
So what are the kinds of crops or plants which it can actually focus on? Is there a set kind of plantation which it right now focuses on, or it's any plantation?
There is. Well, we've kind of taken 2 approaches on that front. So number one is crop recognition, and for that, depending on the crop we want to target, we have our ground team. We have agronomy teams in the different regions, and we have something called a data collection robot. Now, this data collection robot is used in one season where our team actually captures data at different stages. It can be like 5 days, 10 days, 15 days, and things like that. And we generally tend to keep our data set diverse. So different type of seed, different variety and all that. And for one crop, we get that data set. And then we have another annotation team that sits out of our office in Bangalore. and they do the annotation for the data. So finally, like, we train and we deploy that. Now that is one approach. Another approach is simply foliage detection, what we call it. So if there's a plant, now the feature of the plant, the characteristic of the plant is the foliage. So it can just detect foliage and carry out the necessary action.
So, Han, how accurate is this, and is there any certifying body for your solution, and or is there any way that we can actually, or the farmer can get an accuracy on this? How does it work?
Right. So seeing is believing. So when the farmer sees that, at least based on our deployment experience, he sees initially that, okay, it's spraying the right way. And while our numbers are at around like 98%, the only way we can verify it is by spraying, let's say, dyes, and to show that, it's sprayed here, it's not sprayed here, and things like that. Now, in the case of like chemicals such as pesticide and insecticide, so our margin for error is generally higher because we are already reducing it by 70%. If there is a 5% extra here and there, it doesn't make a lot of difference, and it doesn't harm the plants or the crop like negatively. But in the case of herbicide, we have to be super careful.
Okay, in terms of the farming, if you look at the plantation per se, because I mean, if my guess is right, certain farms or plantations are actually planned in such a way that where you can run the vehicle what you have, the robot, but certain places it's not planned. I mean, the plants are not in the same line, and in such cases, do you think that an unmanned aerial vehicle like a drone will be much better, or how does your vehicle fit in there? Those kind of things. Is there any restrictions there?
So yeah, that's an interesting question. So to answer that, I don't think we can cater to requests of all farmers to begin with. So the ones who are planting crops in a pattern are probably the more serious farmers, and they would also be a little more open-minded to adopting a solution like ours. So they directly become our customer. And what we've seen, at least from our field exploration across many states, is unless a farmer is not serious, he will do everything right. Yeah. And with that said, when it comes to like drone tech, right, drone technology, we were a drone company in the past, and we pivoted into ground robots. So the limitation with drone technology is again payload. So whether it's a spray tank or if it's like anything else, there's only so much you can do. Only so many acres you can cover in one battery charge or a day, and things like that. So based on everything we've seen and learned, we came up with the best combination in terms of giving us, let's say, 1 day of runtime in terms of battery charge and enough acreages, enough acres to cover in a single day. And that's why you see like a fairly big ground-based robot.
I think 8 hours is a great time, and I think wonderful, job of pivoting from drones to this, understanding the needs and everything. So great thing. I'll come back to you with the second question of set of questions. Over to Gaurav now on the GingerMind side. A great name. So very interesting name, GingerMind. And is it related to the data which goes to the user? So that it actually activates his mind, or how is it, Gaurav? I would not like to steal this thing, so please tell us what's the reason behind such a good name, and how did you actually? It's got a great social impact. A lot of people need it because my father himself was actually lost his vision during the diabetes, being a diabetic. So how and at what kind of market opportunity you foresee? No, there are 2-3 questions into it, but over to you.
Sure. To answer the first question, so when we started off, we wanted to definitely leverage AI as much as possible. In fact, in 2015, when I quit my job, AI was one of the reasons we thought that, hey, we can do a lot more today. So something like creating an artificial mind. But then again, my co-founder came up with the idea, hey, we are into some kind of tangy innovations as well, which are out of the league, innovating for visually impaired. So the best thing in neural networks and 10G innovation we could come up was GingerMind. So that's how the name was conceptualized.
Okay.
It's innovation with some 10G taste. And yeah, to answer your question, what about the market opportunity and what we can do for more people, like as you said, your father who has got vision impairment. So that's the whole point of making this whole deep tech technologies, open source stuff so mainstream that it can reach the most remotest areas. And if you know, the 90% of people who are suffering from vision impairment, they are from low and middle income categories. So it's very much needed to bring about innovations that can work at scale, and of course cater to needs of different age groups is one of the challenges that we still face. So in our 70,000 user group, the primary age group is 24 to 35 years, where 60% of the whole demography lies. But then we have seeing increasing adoption in people who are over 60 years of age as well, and below 15 years. So this shows a really great trend where technology is definitely going towards the bottom of pyramid and going to more demographies rather than the mainstream ones.
Great. I think while talking to you, I can actually relate that you can actually tie up with Dipen's company, where they actually detect the road potholes and other. Then you can bundle up your services and products together, and you can offer it. Anyway, great thing. Coming back to all of you, one question. How I'll come one by one. How do you? This question is for all of you. How do you think is the support in terms of the technology when it comes to AI? How do you think we are poised at this particular sector? I know you have amazing innovations looking at future, but how do you think we are geared up from whether it's hardware or the software? Do we have a required support from the industry in terms of the ecosystem? And what do you expect out of it to nurture this further? So you've been there, you've done that. So first we'll come back again in the series. The first question to the SICTUPLE team, who have been on the non-invasive side of the AI side.
Can you? We just lost you for a few minutes. Can you just?
Yeah, my question was, now looking at the innovations, which are more, future driven. How do you see the ecosystem? What kind of support is there? Do you think it's for the AI specifically? Do you think that we are ready for that, or is there any gaps which we can fill, both from the ecosystem or from what kind of support is needed for the AI founders out there who are actually seeing all of us?
Sure. So I would say in terms of support, I would say that we have been kind of fortunate in terms of getting the right investors on board at the right time. But where I think the ecosystem and especially the government can help, and this too is not just in a win-win fashion, is to help us take this AI-driven technology for be it healthcare, be it spraying insecticides, be it delivering education or helping blind people to the last mile. Actually, I attended a panel discussion with the Tamil Nadu e-government cell hosted by them this morning, and this is what was one of the topics of discussion, that AI-driven technologies can be taken to the last mile to make the lives of the lowest strata of society better. And this is especially important for two things. One is that we are now in the midst of a pandemic. We know what can happen if we are unprepared. This will help us in being prepared for the next pandemic. And the Tamil Nadu government says that they are actually laying broadband cables to every village in that state. I'm sure that model can be replicated in Karnataka, it can be done in Kerala and every other state in the country. And if we have a broadband connectivity to every village in the state, that opens up I would say, a huge world of opportunities in terms of tele-diagnosis, tele-health, tele-assistance, and tele-education. There are multiple things that we can do. I think this is where the government can play a huge role, because this is not something which can be easily done by the private sector. I mean, probably never by the startup themselves. And the prices will go down as the volumes go up. If I'm selling something for 100 rupees today, if I get 10,000 orders for it, I'll be able to sell it at 20 rupees.
Thank you. Thanks, Rai, for this suggestion and inputs. Over to Dipen and Nikhil on their inputs and what they feel about the AI ecosystem here.
I kind of feel that the talent that we have here in India, right, especially in the AI specific domains, is that it's huge. I mean, we have a lot of new young graduates coming out of college who are very interested in this. And I used to host a couple of these seminars in machine learning and AI, and used to get a lot of enthusiastic young graduates who are interested to do something in good for the society. In that case, I think that is one of the biggest strengths that we have as a country in India. And in terms of the the ecosystem, especially here in Bangalore, we have a lot of incubation programs. For example, like some of the entrepreneurial pitching events that happen, and that's how I met my co-founders here as well. In terms of that, we have a lot of things going on here in terms of growing the ecosystem. One of the challenges that we faced is that trying to this is since our road mapping software directly has an impact on the smart cities and government authorities. More kind of awareness, or say some kind of sessions where the government can also be a little more say aware of how AI can be useful in terms of building these new smart cities that we are planning to build in the next coming years. And this kind of technology, using these cutting edge new technologies to improve efficiency, will be a huge say cost savings or cost reductions when it comes to building these new smart cities. Yeah, I think in terms of in our space, that's what I feel we could have slightly more say interaction with the government. But I mean, yeah, in terms of the ecosystem, it's going on in the right path, and hopefully I look forward to seeing more.
Great. So over to Navneet now. Navneet, so you have been here doing this, from a long time. Do you see any competition here? Do you see? I'm sure there will be some other people also who are actually on the scanning of number plates. And how does this work? How does AI help? AI community here is supporting your this thing, and what do you expect out of it?
Yeah, I echo some of the comments of Rai and others. So, in terms of technology and being on the cutting edge, I think there is sufficient ecosystem between the talent available. I mean, we're world class, right? I mean, we every day compete with the best from, for example, in our space, we compete with the best from Israel and Russia and Japan and China and the US, and we're able to comfortably beat on technology. That's not at all an issue, right? And we will be on the cutting edge, and there is sufficient ecosystem. I think the ecosystem we can't take for granted. It is there. The talent pool ecosystem, the support in terms of various organizations. But I think the challenge and where areas can be helped is scaling. All of us are in the area of we've proven technologies. This works. Competition, we're not worried about the competition. We're really worried about the scaling. And some of the time, quite a bit of our time gets sucked up in, following and spending a lot of time on tenders which don't pan out. There's a lot of that happens. I think that can, be helped quite a bit. And basically, we just need the scale to be able to take our solutions. Solutions are ready. Solutions are ready to scale, and we'll keep improving and be the best in the world. Just the scaling is where we need support. Like right now, currently with the COVID context, right? There's quite a bit of the economic impact is massive, and we see it around the world. I mean, thankfully, we are slightly more advanced in our growth that we're able to, get through this. But a lot of others are struggling. I think government needs to play even a bigger role now than ever before. And whether it's our solutions or the security or the visually impaired, all of the solutions that you're seeing here is just incredible. I think we just need help in scaling, basically. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Navneet, and over to the over to Vishnu now on the same question. What does Vishnu, what do you feel about the, places or, gaps which we can fill, and where do you think that the founders who are, in the using AI in this space, especially in agri-tech, we have funded, the government of Karnataka has funded around 22 to 27 startups in agri-tech space, but where do you think that, things can be improved?
So I think I echo with everybody else in terms of talent availability. So we are in Bangalore and we have the luxury to get access to world-class talent. And we also see a lot of people coming back from abroad. I mean, I myself have come back from abroad, and on our team, we have a lot more members who come here, share interest on solving a problem and want to pursue it. I think the biggest challenge for us is when we're building robots or where we are manufacturing hardware essentially, the supporting manufacturing ecosystem isn't there. And for us, at least in Bangalore, when we go around and explore all the different manufacturing centers, we learn that what's available is just not enough. And that forces us to, let's say, source a lot of things from outside of India, from, let's say, China, US, Europe, whatever. Now, the second challenge that comes in is having to deal with, import laws and duty and shipments getting stuck and clearing that. Now, all of these things, even though they sound like trivial, they have a severe impact on our product cycles. If there is like one critical decision that we have to take, which is based on R&D on one sensor, and customs, for example, decides to not clear it for like 6 weeks, and now that, given that we'll be operating within a very short time frame, and agriculture is also seasonal, which makes things worse for us, we just get stuck. We have to wait, and then it comes whenever it comes. We test whenever it comes, and we integrate and things like that. So at least if the governments can think of kind of a support system for startups that have to go through these kind of processes, and if you're doing a lot of R&D, probably waive off some import duties, so that the process to building a product is a lot smoother for us, and we don't have to pass on a lot of the costs to the customer. Okay. So to summarize, two things. Yeah, support us with like a manufacturing ecosystem, and that's another initiative the government has to probably take altogether, which is encourage more different types of like manufacturing. And number two is making the whole like import processes and custom clearances a lot more smoother.
Okay, so just to add here, I think I should have told it before itself. So as we have the Center of Excellence in Data Sciences and AI, we also have Center of Excellences set up in 7 other areas, which are Center of Excellences in Aerospace and Defense. We have Center of Excellence in Machine Learning and Robotics in association with IIIT Bangalore. We also have set up a Center of Excellence in Animation, Visual Effects and Gaming. We have a Center of Excellence in IoT, which focuses on the most of the connected devices. We have Center of Excellence in Semiconductor, Fabless Lab, in association with ISA. So now, if you look at, we'll be happy to say that you can take the help from machine learning and robotics from IIIT Bangalore, which is set up over there. We can extend mentorship. We can actually give you access to the labs. We also have set up five center of common instrumentation facilities across Karnataka. One in Bangalore, which is there in the Jalahalli metro station in Bangalore. You can actually visit that. You can access our lab there. That's the state-of-the-art makers lab, which we have set up. We can actually circulate the email and brochures about it. We also have the same lab set up in Mangalore, Mysore, Belgaum, and one coming up in Shimoga. So to all the other founders and innovators out there, you can actually look at this. And Yes, with respect to the public procurement and import duties, we will put this voice up for there, and we are working on a public market access. We should be able to come out soon something on that. Over to Gaurav on this aspect. What do you feel about it, and if you have any suggestions on that?
I guess most of the things have already been said by the fan of panelists. I would like to add that in terms of AI, what would be really good for the ecosystem is more of such startups and corporate players coming in together and doing some cross sharing of knowledge. And of course, there will be many trade secrets that they would be involved in, and there are what we have seen interacting even with corporates is there is a lot of reinventing the wheel that is happening, which happens at different stages, right from an early stage startup to a very mature startup. And a lot of an effort can be saved if all of these different players, different actors can come together and do something similar to what has happened like OpenAI in the States. Something similar for Bangalore, possibly in Karnataka, where the majority of AI startups are located. So I'd be very happy to see if something like this comes up in next couple of years, sets up some foundation for upcoming AI companies as well as the existing ones as well. And we can do a lot of cross sharing of IP in whatever way we can.
Okay, so coming to the last round, what has been we'll start backwards with Gaurav again. So how has been your support with government of Karnataka, and how Elevator scaled up, help you scale up, and then what's your next, what do you say, a strategy on your innovation, and how can we help you?
Yeah, big fan of Karnataka startup ecosystem and what the government has been doing. And Elevate was the first entity through which we got support back in 2017 when we were really new into the market, and that helped us scale a lot, build team, do a lot of POC. And not only this, we were able to leverage the other facilities like the patent reimbursement and the other services that the ecosystem has, the startup ecosystem. And Bangalore is, of course, I agree that most of the people would be on the same page. It's a fantastic place to start up, and most of the credit goes to the ecosystem, how different players, different actors come together and they are able to collaborate. And yeah, proud to be here in Karnataka and in Bangalore.
Thank you, Gaurav. Vishnu, your 4 Ps of advice to your fellow innovators in the same space, in the agri-tech space, who are actually practicing AI on different product or solutions. What is that you would like to tell your fellow innovators that what they should focus on? I mean, based on your learnings.
I think to begin with, just don't try and use the word AI for the sake of doing it. There should be real value add. I think that's the easiest thing to say. And the second most important thing, which is also our learning, is on the ground. If somebody goes and pitches something ridiculous to a farmer, he doesn't buy it or he doesn't want it unless it's replacing something that he's already been doing. So you cannot create like a new value chain without replacing like existing problems. And initially, I mean, to give you more context, what we were doing is we were providing drone data services and all that. And that was more like a nice to have for the farmer, where yes, you're telling me where there's water stress, where there's excess nitrogen and things like that. But yeah, this is how I've been farming. This is how I've been going about things. And just because you're coming and telling me is not going to make me want to change the way I've been doing things. As opposed to, let's say, spraying, which is, oh, I've been consuming 100 liters. Now I will consume 40 liters. Sounds like an interesting value proposition there. And it immediately catches them. And another thing that we've learned from the field is that the farmer is definitely a little shy to begin with. So you just like initially turn up in front of him and and just say a bunch of things and things like that. He's not going to, let's say, give you a warm welcome and say, yeah, chalo, let's do it, and things like that. But if you just hang around, if you just keep deploying your solution, keep running it here and there, at some point he'll come around and he'll be like, oh, looks like you've lasted for quite some time. And that trust kind of builds. Like the more and more he sees you, or the more and more farmers see you around, that's when they begin to trust you. And I know this is like digressing a little bit from AI, but when you want to deliver a solution to the farmer with AI or without AI, you got to follow these principles. And finally, you cannot take the operational intensity lightly. It's probably one of the hardest things if you have to put your solution out there, and otherwise you just can't scale. Like in a country like India, one farm is not enough. 5 farms will fetch you nothing. So you have to just scale your solution across states, and you can do that only if you plan for things in advance, if you're willing to sweat it out, if you're willing to slum it out, do whatever is required, plan ahead of time, and get grounded.
Yeah, I'm sure, because when it comes to product, what you said is correct, because when you come to product, you need to have inventory, you need to have mobility, you need to have the capacity to actually, do the business development, because you, as you said, it's not 1 or 5 farms or 10 farms or 20 farms. You need to have endurance, you need to have that capability to, deploy so many, products there. I'm sure you will overcome all that, and you'll be able to chalk out a path there. So over to Navneet, in terms of what you would like to share, those 2 pointers to your fellow innovators in your side, because uh, you have achieved a great feat by actually deploying your solution in 8,000 ATMs. And with respect to number plates, I'm sure that comment would have been your customer there. What is that your learnings are, and what you would like to say, those two strategies which actually can put them into success there.
Sure. I mean, I think the first thing is there's never been a better time to get started if you haven't started, because downturns are really, we are in sort of a very severe downturn, right? Hope the economy gets back, but this is challenging times, pretty unprecedented. But these are the times to really, put pedal to the ground and really work hard and start. And this is long term. I mean, I've been through 2 big downturns. My first job started just before the big .com bust back in 2000. I've seen that, and then 2008 and 9. And those are things that will keep happening. So we have to respond. So I think we have like a good ecosystem here, incredible ecosystem, to be honest. In Bangalore, we have all kinds of problem domains we can work on. To be honest, even Silicon Valley, I used to live in San Jose, California. There's a very narrow set of problems that Bay Area, Silicon Valley works on. But in Bangalore, you have everybody from the manufacturing companies to the car companies to the retail companies, to all of them. So we can leverage that experience and start. So now been a better time to get started. And then the other one is, I think one thing I still struggle to do, this the big struggle, is to seek help at every stage we are learning, right? So right now we've kind of gone through the early stages, seed stage, we can do this well, but the scaling stage, there's a lot of struggle, right? And we tend to not ask enough for help. And that's like a big not just an ego thing, it's various things that we're not trained to just go and seek help. And that's a big struggle, and we have to go out of our comfort zones. I think there is a lot of help around. If you're serious and if you're doing the right thing, there will be help. So just going out of your comfort zone and seeking help where needed, I think is something we all need to learn to do better.
Great. I think your IP drives your product, your solution. Your IP drives the market. And what you are trying to say is, if there is a strong product or solution, You don't need to do the, push marketing. You have the pull marketing. You have the customers coming to you. That's a great thing. I think we should focus on innovating and creating those cutting edge product or solutions there. Over to Nikhil and Dipen. You are in a space where you are identifying the number of identifications what you do will be the most, because we have a lot of potholes here. And but apart from government, who do you think would be your target market? I mean, will it be the automobile guys? Because I think who can be there, and what kind of what do you say insights do you want to open up into people who want to get into this kind of allied services, or services which are you are in actually?
I think, yeah. So for us, in terms of customers, initially, so most of our efforts will be going towards the mapping and automotive companies, simply because this level of data is currently not accessible. As in, they don't have this sort of street and road level data to not just potholes. So I think one of the things that people confuse is that just potholes is the only one that we detect, but a lot of other factors, a lot of other features that are missing out in terms of in a simple map. For example, if you open Google Maps, it doesn't know the speed limits. It doesn't know like certain kind of say locations of metro stations by signposts, by all of the informatory warnings and so on. And with this, by opening up this crowdsourced solution, we're able to scale up to these major metros and get this useful information for various companies. So it can be like mapping, automotive, even location, intelligence services. Like if you're opening up a new shop, what's the surrounding region around you based on the data. So this opens up a huge, tremendous opportunity. And with AI being is that if someone is starting out new right now, the one piece of advice would be is that when you start initially with AI, it's something very new because it's not done before, right? So you might have those first few challenges when you start initially, but as you start growing and start refining and start getting more feedback on how the opinions from your customers, it will slowly start to they slowly start to understand or accept AI as a new solution that can be help to efficiently like make the processes more efficient, right? So that's something which people don't look at that in that perspective until they haven't looked at it in that perspective until now. But now when you know that AI can make things much more efficient, it becomes a very useful solution to have as we approach the next few years. That's that. In terms of us, what we're planning to do is scale up to major metros, acquire useful data, and then start selling it out to mapping and automotive companies. Post that.
Thanks, Nikhil. Coming last to the SIGTPL team, you have reduced the time and you have reduced the effort in which the way the reports are being read. You improved accuracy. You actually will be aiding a lot of doctors. So your two learnings of in the journey which can actually help startups. Right.
Maybe Manish will actually take this question.
Sure. So definitely our learnings will be that to start small. So we started with a microscope first. Okay. Right now we have a device which we have ourselves manufactured, designed it. So starting small and stick to what value you are adding, because if you start with small, you try to prove concepts. I'm not talking about only the prototype of part of it, but whatever resources right now you have. Okay, you have to be very resourceful in whatever right now you have. So that is the first learning which we have to take, and that's how we have gone out for every year and after year, how we have improved. So starting with small and scaling it to like more than 100 devices which we have. The second important learning is about we all as every founder, we are all passionate about the kind of impact impact we are going to bring in, and we are going till edge to make sure that we are able to make that impact. But it is also very important to communicate that impact within the organization. So instead of mine, I'm sitting here, even if I call someone our engineer and he'll talk to you in the same manner which I'm talking to you with respect to the impact which we are bringing. What it does actually is that it brings up more views, it brings up more better solutions in terms of, so we are in that case, we have much more better minds, which you are trying to focus on a particular vision. So that I think the second part, it's very important when when a startup of 2 or 3 people is going to scale up from 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, because we know founder will go limitless, like he'll go, but we also want people who are working there to go to go limitless. Okay, so these are, I think, 2 important learnings which we have found out within our journey.
Great, Manish. So great learnings. So what you say is perseverance and team, support is required. The involvement towards innovation is comes from everyone in the team, and it's not just the founder. Founder, nonetheless, is the key person who actually envisages that. Thanks a lot. Great minds. We have a lot of intelligent people putting artificial intelligence into their platforms. We have actually, it's a great session because it's great to meet all of you from diverse backgrounds. One coming from the agri-tech, another coming from the medtech. We have Gaurav coming from the social impact side. We have Navneethan from the imaging side. We had Nikhil and Dipen again from the government solutions to government side. It's a great panel, and I'm honored to moderate this session with all of you. I would actually love to meet all of you in person once the pandemic is over, in our Center of Excellence in Data Sciences and AI. And as Gaurav said, let's actually let's actually unlearn how we have learned, various. I'm sure a lot of you have cut across the hardware and the solution side. So your vendors, the way you prototyped your product, what kind of challenges you have overcome. I'm sure that is going to really, be a learning, and it's going to be a lot of help for all the new innovators to come up, and we can accelerate this, entire, process of, the time from conceiving the idea towards the first release or first product or the first customer is really important. I'm sure we should meet up, and I think Gaurav had a real good point of actually, culminating everything and cross-selling and cross-learning part of it. Great session, a great panel. Thanks a lot for all of your time and your inputs and your views and your journey, sharing your journey. So signing off here, and I would actually, I have collected all your points. I have noted down all of your points, and we will actually try to, work on this and come back to you all and the community for startups. And thanks to all the viewers of today's session. Thanks to Meti. Thanks to Raise. Such a wonderful session, such a wonderful platform. And on behalf of Government of Karnataka, again, thanks once again.
Thank you.
Thanks, Satya. Nice to talk to you as always.
Thanks, Satya. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks a lot, Satya. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.